Hello, Merb, and welcome to your deck review. For those of you joining us for the first time, this is a series on YouTube where I, Maltown Notorious Hater and Fun Disliker, will calmly and politely review your deck's PP. That is your premise and your practicum. Premise is the idea behind your deck. It's what you hope the deck can do. Your practicum is what it actually does. It's what you put in the 99 and whether or not it helps support that idea. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about what this person wants to do and whether or not that works in the bracket they want to do it in, with whatever idiosyncrasies they have about what good cards they're allowed to play or not allowed to play. And then we'll look at the deck itself and what problems are there. So the idea is the Lesnia. That's it. They describe it as bracket 1 in the primer, which I'm going to contest a little bit, but we want to be very strict with a Selesnian vibe. Every card needs to feel like you could see it on Ravnica, and you could maybe see it in the museum. I don't know what I would call a home base, the headquarters of the Selesnian Guild. The thing has to be there. So we're not going to have, probably no crater hoofs. I don't think they have room for an elephant. What else would we not have? We're probably not going to have the fairies protection. That bitch is not on Ravnica. Stuff like that. Now that said, not bracket 1. So you're good there. Now this person wants to escape bracket 1 and reach bracket 3. So we're going to try to get there, but I do want to assure you it's not bracket 1. A lot of people think, oh, if I'm intensely committed to a theme, I'm going to get locked down to bracket 1. I'm in danger of being locked down in bracket 1. That's only true if your theme is unrelated to any mechanical support in Magic the Gathering. Is there anybody out there who believes Selesnya is not a supported mechanic in Magic the Gathering? I guess the same with Kindred, right? If you do a creature type, you're like, oh, my creature type deck, it's bracket 1. If you refuse to use any of the creature type support cards, it can be. But going for one creature type is a mechanically supported thing in Magic the Gathering. And being green, mechanically supported in Magic the Gathering. Being white, mechanically supported in Magic the Gathering. We can definitely get to bracket 2. Bracket 3 is probably where we're going to have the hardest time. And that may be where lots of research has to come in. This person is also, they really like horses because they tried to build a Miriam deck, which is really funny. And I am going to say the thing you're afraid of. The horses are probably going to get sent to the glue factory if we want to make it to the win factory. Not all of them, but it will likely be... It will likely not be this commander. It will likely not be this plan. You can do a bracket 3 horse girl deck, I think, but it's probably going to take a different form. You would likely want to have oh yeah, here's the thing. If you wanted to do a bracket 3 horse girl deck, this would be your commander, and you would have to be okay with Gundam girls as well, because you would have to mix in vehicles. And then you could get a Selesnya Stacks, Selesnya Stacks vehicle horses beat you to death after I've locked down the board deck going, but it's probably not going to be a Mara Soul of the Accord in charge of that deck. Now, I do want to take a moment to talk about your position on Game Changers. You say you don't play with these, not because they're expensive, but I fear the groans of other players as they come out. I feel that. My rebuttal is, if you want to play in bracket 3, the whole point of that bracket is to play things that make other people groan. That's it. The idea that our opponent should be cheering for us the whole time is an intensely selfish approach to Magic the Gathering. The only... applause is not the only form of enjoyment. It's not the only form of engagement. We're in a wizard duel. If your deck is built to only elicit a positive reaction from me, and you're not okay with me being frustrated by the powerful card you've played, you're shutting off half of the enjoyment of Commander. Half of the enjoyment of Commander is doing fuckery to somebody and them being like... Now that can be greatly complicated by the LGS you play in, by your friend group, because some people are just straight childish and they don't know how to handle fuckery without totally ruining the vibe. So I am sympathetic. Maybe you're playing with those people. And so I will try to avoid too many groan-inducing cards, but I do think you should reflect on how much of this avoidance is based on what's actually happening in my environment, and how much of this avoidance is something that I'm like imagining is happening in my environment. Because you're talking about being an old school Yu-Gi-Oh player and wanting people to have a chance to top deck. They get so many chances to top deck over the course of a game, right? Like the game goes 8 turns and I play a generically good card that wins me the game. You had 8 chances to top deck something. Like the whole game is predicated upon being able to interact at instant speed. You can get board wiped at instant speed. Your commander can get removed. Your game-winning spell can get counterspelled. They can phase out your board. Like there are an endless number of heart of the cards, destiny draw, correct answer things they can pull off the top. And if your friends only want to use 10% of them, that's not your fault. You don't need to, right? You don't have to never let yourself play with the fun thing just because like imagine if you were general contractors and you were competing in a general contractor competition and your friends were like, "Hey, what the fuck, Dwayne? We all said we were only going to bring hammers on this job." We're like, "No, who said that? Who the fuck said that?" Like, it's what's fair, man. Because imagine we're going to get in a situation where exactly what you need is a hammer, or we can creatively use a hammer, and that's going to build the whole deck. I know very little about contracting, but I'm assuming saws are involved at some point, screwdrivers, something like that. That's what I'm saying. Don't lock yourself down or out of using all the other beautiful tools in this game just off of a sandbox that doesn't have to. If you prefer the sandbox existing, that's fine. But if we're scared of retribution, if we're scared of judgment from other players, that's where I would be like, you don't have to, don't tweak about that. So let's get into the deck, because we can definitely do this. We have Amara Soul the Accord. When she becomes tapped, we want to make wood, by the way. We want to make a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. So we want to tap, untap, tap, untap, tap, untap, tap, untap, right? As many ways as we can. And then if we can get token doublers, that would probably go crazy. If we can get replacement effects that make an additional token, we're just going to make like an endless number of dudes. So we have a little bit of ramp. Depending on what you have in the deck, this could be appropriate. I'm a little bit confused by some choices. Like Awakening Zone, number 1, doesn't seem Selesnyan. Doesn't seem useful. Do we have anything that's like crazy high on mana? Hell no. So Awakening Zone does make a guy, but here it seems like we've sacrificed both flavor and function. Arcane Signet, that art doesn't look Selesnyan, that's okay. I also don't think it's strictly necessary. Like, one thing you should embrace, there are decks that can just land drop. There are decks that can just land drop their way to victory. And if you're a token deck, if you want to be ramping, you want to be on like, I don't know if you think she's Selesnyan or not, very foresty. You want to be on stuff that's going to make you like an explosive amount of mana because we have generated tokens. I don't really think you need to be taking turns off in the early game to try to accelerate. What you want to do is in the early game, play stuff that is setting up this tap on tap engine. And then once you have it set up, you play something that accelerates the whole board you have developed. So I don't really like Soul Ring is again a powerful card, but we can't be worried about inducing groans because we played a game changer and then be willing to drop a turn 1 Soul Ring. What are we talking about? Recycle. On end step, if you gained life, return a creature card from graveyard to hand. If you gain 7 or more life, return that card to the battlefield instead. That's bad, right? How are we gaining life? Oh, never mind. They have lifelink. That's how. Okay. I don't love that. I only see 4 buffs. It seems a little bit aspirational that we're going to be swinging 7 life gaining power. Oh, she has life gain too, so we only need 4 other guys. This is not the worst. I think you have better options. I do wonder, because like the thing about doing a theme deck like this, you're going to need more research than I can provide right now. I can provide you like a trellis upon which to grow this masterwork shrubbery. But a lot of it is going to be going through Scryfall art tags, going through Scryfall O tags, because this probably works. There's almost certainly something better we could do for recursion, something better we could do for life gain, and I think that will probably hold throughout the rest of this deck. Okay, this is definitely the right type of, mid game. I've made some guys. I'm going to really accelerate my mana. We're untapping more. Mana acceleration. I'm untapping. That one's pretty bad, but yeah, sure. We can tap her with it. Also pretty bad, but not unacceptable. Sure. That eventual payoff is pretty decent. Okay, gives us haste abilities, so that means we can tap our mana heavy stuff. A mana dump, and we get to untap everything once. Okay. This is another like mid-tier usefulness card. It seems a lot like Aerith to me, where we almost certainly have a better option. But this is definitely Selesnya, so the question will be, do we have a better option that is Selesnyan? Okay, when she enters or attacks, put a counter on target creature you control. When one or more creatures you control with counters on them deals damage to a player, draw a card. I don't like this one. I don't like this one at all. Number one, this is Astronaut. I do think this specific art is not in space, so you can get away with it. But people with ball knowledge are going to be like, you told me this was a Ravnica and Selesnya deck. Why? Hold on. What is Valentina Tereshkova doing in your deck? Be serious. Now, mechanically, what I don't like about this card is this is putting a counter on one creature. We really never want to do that. If your deck is all about, I'm going to make as many guys as possible, putting one counter on one creature does way less than just, can I put one counter on every creature? And there's almost certainly a accurate Selesnyan option that can put a counter on every creature. So if we can, we want it to be on everybody. The Good Fortune Unicorn does that a little bit better because it's going to get one counter on, each 1/1 token as they enter. What I don't love about this guy is that he's not very repeatable, right? We're going to get our 1/1s to a 2/2, but we're not going to get them any further than that. And the gold standard that you can't play in this deck because the theming does not work at all is Ouroboros. What we're going to try to do is, how close can we get to Ouroboros and adhere to this Selesnyan energy? Arwen, same deal as the Good Fortune Unicorn, better than Halia, but we're kind of like, we're stuck kind of at, we only get the first round of it. Conclave Mentor, also Selesnyan. I don't love this when we can't put counters repeatedly on. I think Conclave Mentor could be very, very effective in a deck where you were regularly putting counters on, but because you only have 6 cards that deal with 1/1 counters anyway, you are probably only going to draw one of these cards over the course of the game. And if that one card is Conclave Mentor, guess what? Nobody gets any fucking counters because you don't have the first round of counters to put on. Then we have the Earth Crystal. Hard to argue against this one. I do think we're limiting it because we don't have more 1/1 counter stuff going on. Tribute's fine. I think we're probably only getting like half the value of Tribute because we're playing like the 3 or... Okay, no. We're hitting the... There's another 3. There's... Oh, 2? Okay. There's another 3. That guy sucks. 2. Okay. So a not unreasonable amount of stuff hits our... We will get to draw off this card. That's all right. Destruction. You need more than this. If we want to have agency, you need more. You need more things to do than a one-off removal option. I think this is actually part of the tempo problem you're having. In your primer, you discuss always being between like, oh ha ha ha, that's funny, to like, oh ha ha ha, we have to kill them right now. And it's like, do I handle that with protection? Possibly. One of the other ways you handle it is right now you have like 60 cards that are foot on the gas, token, 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 token. If you had 50 cards that were foot on the gas, token, 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 and 10 cards that were deal with the bullshit other people do to me, you would not only scale up a little bit slower, which would help your threat profile a lot, you would not feel as helpless when other people turned on you. So I actually don't think what's making you feel locked in bracket 1 is the adherence to the Selesnyan vibes. I think what's locking you in, what's making you feel trapped in bracket 1 is you have robbed yourself of your own agency because you do not play things that can respond to people, which is actually interesting given the issue that you have with game changers. Like, you talk about wanting other people to be able to top deck the answer, but you deny yourself that own possibility because you don't give yourself any answers. That is worth meditating on. Many Magic players suffer from this, many card game players suffer from this, but that is like, I think unlocking what has led to that hypocrisy will do a lot to help you enjoy yourself building decks more. Then we have like you do draw a card by casting Eladamri's Call. Hell yeah. Utility land, sure. Tokens, doubling season, you know, oftentimes a win more card, but we are making so many tokens, sure. At the beginning of your upkeep, I get 1 token. I can tap to make a token. I can double my tokens. I can make an additional token. Make a token on attack, and I can make my lifelinking commander huge. Okay, I understand. What was it, the Aerith a little bit better now? Very good card. Very, well, card that can get very good. It's not very good in commander, but I'm sure you can make it shine. And then on each upkeep, make a token. Okay. So what seems to be missing in my head is we don't draw enough cards, number 1. That's kind of okay for this deck because you don't need too many things to go right before you're happy. Like, all you really need to go right is, can I tap Amara? If I can tap Amara, stuff's happening. Or like, can I make tokens? We have a couple other ways to make tokens. So you're hurt less by this abject lack of draw than most people. But if you wanted to have solid draw, I would probably go up to like 4 to 5 of these Benny Braxian engines. So if we go to Tagger, we want repeatable pure draw, and then we want OTAG synergy token, and then we want Commander Selesnya. So Phineas is an animal. It depends on how Selesnyan you think Bloomborough is, but he will. This is a great guy to replace one of your current counters things, because you swing him, you get a counter on everything. Now the big problem is keeping him safe, so we may not want to put him in until we have more of a like critical mass situation with our counters, because he's just a 2/2 and he doesn't put counters on himself. Idol of Oblivion, it depends on, do you believe the Ravnik and Guild of Selesnya has a massive fucking statue somewhere? And then you could do Staff of the Storyteller. It really depends on how Selesnyan you think it is, but it is a pretty good card draw engine. It makes you a token on ETB. I think we're missing a lot that would work. That synergy token tag is a little bit too narrow for my liking. So where's another? Welcoming Vampire could do it. I don't think that's incredibly Selesnyan. Mentor of the Meek could do it. He looks a bit Selesnyan. He's kind of got the aesthetic going. I think Caretaker's Talent does it, but again, it's like, it's really dependent on how you feel about animals. Kokaj's Welcome is another, like, it's kind of on the bubble for me. Lifecrafter's Bestiary, not a very good card, but we're beginning to dig pretty deep. We're not gaining a ton of life. I don't think we gain enough life for the Gaffer. I don't think Smuggler's Share does it. I guess we kind of have to be okay with animals if we're doing a zoologist, right? Who cares about casting an elf spell, which I'm not confident we're doing an incredible amount. Selvala could do it. It would have each player draw a card, but this card can get pretty fucking nasty. Makes you a lot of mana, makes you a lot of cards. I've seen many people use it to great effect. Dawn of Hope cares about life gain. Don't think Cosmos Elixir does it. I'm trying to guess what you think is Selesnyan. Master of Ceremonies. I would believe in him being here. I don't know if I would believe in the Craterhoof elephant, but like he's rocking with the unicorn IMO, and this is going to give you it's going to give you tokens 2 out of 3 times, but it's giving you cards, giving you creatures, or giving you treasure. That all seems good to me. It is a little bit group huggy, which can be a little bit threatening, but I don't think that's the end of the world for a deck like this. Ooh, let's talk about Court of Ardenvale. I want to believe in this being a Selesnyan card. It seems very like knighty, very royal. Those vibes all seem to be accurate. This is not the best standalone card draw engine, but it does give you Monarchy. And if you have a lot of tokens to chump block with, Monarchy is a card draw engine. And whether or not you can hold on to the Monarchy, most of the cards in your deck, most like the big movers, seem to be 3 mana or less. We have some crazy ones that are happening at 4, but it's like Veteran Beast Riders happening at 3, this Evangel's happening at 3, Vitality's happening at 3, these 2 are happening at 4, Darian's at 3, Arwen's at 3, Mentor's at 3, Unicorn's at 3. And Court of Ardenvale is either going to bring them back to your hand, at which point you can cast them, or if you've held on to the Monarchy, they just come straight back to the battlefield. Because the other thing I want this deck to worry more about is how do I rebuild? Like, you do want to put some protection in here, but you're not always going to have the protection. And the situation it seems like you could get stuck in very easily is I like slam, 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 token, token, token. The table turns on me and goes, okay, they have too many token. They have had enough fun. We now need to take all of their fun for ourselves. And they board wipe you. And then you have 2 or 3 cards in hand because you did not hit one of your very, very few card draw engines. You did not have a protection spell because you only run a handful. And then you're like, shit, what do I do? Fuck. And so what you do is you have more card draw. So when that happens to you, you do not have only 2 to 3 cards in hand. You have enough cards in hand that it's not unreasonable to rebuild. Oh god, we didn't even go over all the mounts. Oh fuck. Okay, so real quick, let's talk about what can be used, what can't. This one can stay. No. This one can stay. Maybe. This one can stay if you get better about putting +1/+1 counters on everything. This one can stay. This guy's awesome. No. Oh, maybe. This one would be really greedy. This would be a bad pet card, but you might be able to play it. No. You can try it, yeah. We can try to get away with this one, because this is another good way, like, if we could make our commander big enough to swing, that would be great, because then she's better as a blocker too, especially if we can tap her at instant speed. And then you can try to cope with this one. So the absolute stays are Bounding Felidar, District Mascot, Guardian Sunmare, Ornery Tumblewag. And then you can try to cook with Seraphic Steed, Drover Grizzly, and that's it. And then if you want to do the Horse Girl deck, like just different Miriam deck, dog, you can make it happen. Rip Spawn Hunter can get up in there. Like, there's just a whole other deck for this thing. Your protection. That is a striking art. I don't think she's good enough. Because you're probably not going to get killed by damage, right? Like if you're casting 7 mana in Selesnya in your token deck, you should be trying to put together a win. And most of the things that are going to fuck you are people playing like destroy all creatures, give all creatures minus something, um, heal, like exile all creatures, like being able to prevent all the damage to them. Everything Amaro Tandris is doing is done by Dolmen Gate. Now, I would kind of agree Dolmen Gate does not seem very Selesnyan, so we don't get to play that. But if we try to think of like other good... Are any of these Selesnyan to you? It doesn't seem all the way, but we might be getting a little bit closer. I could see her being Selesnyan, a little bit too fiery, but like we're almost there. But what you want to be looking for is board-wide indestructibility or board-wide phase out. Right? What's not Selesnyan about Cloud and Address? Come on. Yeah, Rootborn Defenses is great. Okay, so how do we line this up? Let me put it to you this way. There seems to be a lot of cards in this deck that are chosen just because they are Selesnyan. I think the one that just tweaked me out, Sterling Grove, is an example of that. Now I know you like want to tutor for parallel lives, doubling season. This is another thing that's going to be contributing to the feeling of like either I do nothing or I do everything. You got to have more stuff to do in the middle, or more different stuff to do, or more ways to protect your stuff, or more ways to draw more stuff. But we kind of only have, like, we've built this deck to only draw insane gas or a completely useless horse. And I think that vibe variance is going to hurt way more than anything else. Because if we can just keep it 100 for a second, like doubling season, you made that shit up, dog. You made that shit up. I respect it. It's a good card. It's a fun card. You pulled that shit out of your ass. Queen Alanal, hell yeah, Selesnya. So we have some cards that are good on flavor, good on mechanics, A+. We have some cards that are just like, very few, but we have a few that are just like, hell yeah, A+ mechanic. This is like what I want the deck to do mechanically, and it's going to be great if I get to play it. And then we have some cards that are like, just straight up worthless, but we like the art. Those things cannot coexist. I think what's going to help you the most is you either need to dedicate the research time to finding more things like Queen Alanal that have the overlap, or you have to accept that you're going to be playing some cards that are on mechanics and off theme, or you have to not play any good cards and do bracket 1, which I don't think you want to do. So in terms of the cards you need to research, what you need to find, first and foremost, a bit more draw. A bit more draw will solve so many of your problems. You don't need to find any more ramp. You do want to find more ways to put 1/1 counters on your entire board. The applicable O tag for that is gives PP counters to all. Commander Selesnya, Abandoned Air Temple looks a little Selesnyan. We're already going really, really long, so I'm going to try to not take up too much more of your time. Shalai can do it, but she is pretty mana intensive. But this is a very big thing for you, because this is going to be how you convert less than 1 million tokens into a win, right? If you have 5 1/1s with lifelink, you kind of have to get to like 20 1/1s before you're scary. If you have 5 3/3s with lifelink, that's pretty decent. You have 5 4/4s? Wow. You have 5 5/5s with lifelink? Like, you're the problem. So a way we can shorten, or a way we can close the floor to ceiling distance between like either I'm not doing anything or I have experienced token prolapse and now everybody wants to kill me, is have a few more ways to buff all the tokens we're making. The next thing you want to care about is some type of recursion. White is very, very good at bringing back cheap stuff. Green is pretty good about bringing stuff back in general. I don't know what is more Selesnyan than a giant tree, but I defy you to find it for me. I defy you to find something more Selesnyan than just a literal fucking tree. And so the tags we want... You can just look through O-tag recursion, but what you really want to care about is white green's going to have a few options, like Savine's Reclamation, that can do multiples. You very, very much want to do multiples because what you are most afraid of in the entire world is a board wipe. Your commander is cheap. Your commander can be recast a time or two. You have a number of other potentially very threatening token engines, and so single target removal should not hose you incredibly. But what will hose you incredibly is you get hit by farewell all modes when you have not played a card draw engine. So we don't have foods. So Ascend from Avernus is a very, very good one. Celestine is definitely not Selesnyan. Raise the Past could do it for your commander, but I think you have too many 3-mana creatures to really feel confident about that. We already talked about Court of Ardenvale. Sarah Paragon would be good at it, but it depends if you think angels are Selesnyan or not. But this will let you get lands and 3 CMC permanents out of your graveyard and back onto the field. I don't think you want Rhea Dawnbringer. Smile at Death, definitely not Selesnyan. Season of the Burrow, a bit Selesnyan, and does multiple good things from you. It can do removal, it can make you tokens, it can bring back your guys. But that is the next priority you want. And I think if you tie up, I can draw more cards, I can buff my board a little bit more effectively than just giving them counters one time. I can repeatedly give my whole board counters, and then I can recur my board. You will immediately be in a much better place. And then the last step, if you want to get really freaky, is I'm going to have more answers. I'm going to have more instant speed things to do in response to my opponents. Now, the casualties for that is going to be a lot of your mounts. I would also argue against most of the choices you have made for your +1/+1 counters plan. I would argue against all of this ramp. I would argue against Presence of Gond. I kind of would for 1,000-Year Elixir unless you have a combo you want to do, because we need our commander, we need 1,000-Year Elixir, and then we need like Enduring Vitality on the board to use the mana, like to tap them for mana, and I don't think we have the cards or the mana dumps to make that worthwhile, because if we dump it into this, they're all tapped and they can't swing. And then I think you're in a pretty healthy spot. So if there are any specific cards that are Selesnyan heaters, let me know in the comments. I apologize for this being a particularly long one, but I do wish you the best. I hope this helps.